I want to show you how you can get your data analytics ready using Connect Data Services assets. Now, this is going to drastically facilitate creating live dashboards and visualization services, or machine learning models and modeling and analytics, or even analyzing this data in Power BI. So to go ahead and get started, we're going to start with a case where we have streams in Connect Data Services. Now, what you should do to get started is you should go to your sequential data store, and here you can look at all the different streams that you're collecting from your on-premises sources. And this could be from Pi servers, from adapters, AVEVA MES, AVEVA Historian, and more. And to go ahead and create your assets, go to Visualization and Asset Explorer, which is what I've done here. Create your first asset, and the top right, click Add Asset. Now, you can create one from a type. I'm just going to go ahead and create a brand new asset. I'll hit Continue, and you can give it a name. In this case, we'll call ours Machine 74656. And then for our description, we'll say this is rotating machinery. And then we can add a couple different things to this asset. And the whole goal is to take this long list of streams that we're setting to the cloud and make it much easier for our users and analysts and applications to work with. We're going to group these into a digital representation of the physical asset. And so I want to add some metadata first. For instance, I know that the make from this, I know this is by KDY. And I know that the model here, if I go to the model, this is INT3. And I also know that the protocols that this is speaking is OPC UA and OMF. There's multiple different data sources that are giving me data for this asset. And so I've added this static metadata here. Now I want to click Properties, and you do this in order to group your streams from on-premises for this asset. So you should click Add Stream References and search for the streams that you want to group in this asset. So I know that some of these are coming from my accelerometer. So for my accelerometer of type 1041. And sure enough, I want to get my X, Y, and Z acceleration, and I'll hit Add. And here you can rename these. If you want to trim off the first part, if you want to give them completely brand new names, we'll show examples of both, you can do that right here. So perfect. Now these streams are going to have much more human-friendly names now that they're properties of this asset. But the nice thing about assets, again, is that they can unify multiple different sets of streams all in one. So I'll hit Add Stream Reference, and I'll go here and I'll do a search for OPC UA. There's some OPC UA streams. And here I want to bring a couple things. I want to bring the device status of my OPC UA adapter, and I want to bring my two most important OPC UA streams, my chassis temperature for this rotating piece of equipment, and my board temperature. I'll hit Add. And now here's an example where I can rename these completely. So this, I'll just call this my chassis temperature, and here I'll call this my board temperature, and I can even configure units of measure too. I'll say that I want this to be degrees Fahrenheit, and same for my other temperature here. I'll call this degrees Fahrenheit. And so now I've added multiple different dynamic properties for this asset. I can even add a status configuration because I want to visually display the status of that stream. So I'll hit device status and continue, and I can say that when it has the value of good, I want it to be red. When it's device in error, or when it's good, I want it to be green. When it's device in error, I want it to be red. And I'll hit save. And when you do this, now you're going to get that status stream represented using this status graphic, instantaneously letting you know when it falls into one or more of these different states. I can see those dynamic properties right here. Now, sure enough, it's showing my X acceleration for that stream over the last 5 minutes. I can look for any of these static metadata as well. And so now if a user says, for my remote monitoring use case, I'm really interested in X and Z acceleration along with the external chassis temperature, they don't have to individually get these streams and try to make sense of that data with them being broken up into individual streams. Now they can very easily say, let me simply go to my assets, look for my asset machine 74656, and now say that I want to see my X, Z, and chassis temperature. And they can use the exact same asset grouping later when they're creating their models, when they're doing the visualizations, or when they're working with their data in Power BI. And we just wanted to show the steps of how in just a handful of minutes you can go from having streams and Connect Data Services to having these asset groupings that are much easier to work with and use in your applications. And now there's multiple other ways of making these assets too. If you are getting data from an AVEVA Pi server, you can actually have those synced directly using the Pi to Connect agent and use your existing AF elements as assets here in Connect Data Services. Or if you go to Data Management and click Asset Rules, you can even use the Intelligent Asset Rules Builder to build these assets based on patterns in your naming conventions of your streams. And then finally, you can also create these in bulk using the API. I wanted to show just a handful of minutes how you can create your own brand new assets in the cloud, starting just with streams, the steps you need to make your own assets that now you can use in your analyses and visualizations, your graphics and dashboards. Just a handful of minutes. And of course, we'll take these assets and use these in other use cases later, but that's what we wanted to show today in this example. Thank you.